My name is Marija Razgutė. I'm a producer. Every project is like a new experience for you as a producer, director, writer, and it's really hard to, sometimes it's really hard to adapt your previous experience to a new project because it's totally different project, it's different characters, it's different locations, and you have to learn again and again and again and again. And every film is like creating new processes which are unique every time. For you, for the director, for the scriptwriter, you just have to open a new page which is blank and start everything from the beginning. You know what I mean? Do you have this feeling? Because for example, now with one of my films, I really feel like, oh my God, I have no experience, I don't know what to do, though I have some experience and I could adapt it, but yeah, it's not working, I have to invent something else, it's different team, they don't work that well together, or they work too well together and there's some problem somewhere else. And it's always something new, always something different. And you are always like on duty. You cannot just copy paste the same what you did before. It's as Ruta said, it's really maybe for this reason it's so interesting to work in the film industry because it's all the time it's changing, all the time it's different, but it's also really hard and you have to keep on learning, keep on doing new things, and etc. etc. Did I say something funny?
We were just wondering what day it is.
You were wondering what?
What day?
What date? Okay.
It's Wednesday.
Okay, so again I will mention the creative producer. Why do we talk about creative producers, and why do not schools have courses for creative producers, or at least very little schools have courses for creative producers? I mentioned a little bit in the morning that the film school, what they do, they usually teach you managemental skills, which is scheduling, budgeting, that's it. Becoming a creative producer is something that comes with the experience, which can also be adopted during your film studies, but very hard. From my experience, I didn't go to the film school, so I learned everything from the practice, which I had. For me, the biggest impact was that I was reading a lot. I was reading a lot of scripts. I was a festival programmer. I watched a lot of short films. This is really important. Watch as many short films, feature films, doesn't matter. If you work with the shorts, watch shorts. If you work with the features, you can watch both. But it's really important to watch the films. And also traveling. Traveling, the festivals, the markets, this is also was my unofficial school of producing. And those things really, they opened my mind, they opened my creativity, if I can say so, and they helped me a lot in my everyday work. Because I learned how to read the scripts. Watching the films allow me to read the script and allow me to imagine how the film could look like. Allow me to listen to the director and try to understand his vision visually. Not just to say that it will look like this, and I hear that it will look like this, but how it will look like. So this is something what you can learn by practice, but you really have to work hard. Reading and watching the films. Reading the books, reading the scripts preferably. And also there's a very interesting task, what you can try to do. I started giving lectures in Vilnius University this year, and I tried this methodology with my students. Every lesson, we watch the film from the very beginning of the class, and then we analyze it. How long was the script? How many days did they shoot? What was the budget? How many locations? How many actors? We try to do the breakdown, you know? We do everything backwards after watching the film. Of course, I have to do quite a lot of homework. I have to contact the filmmakers, ask those things so that I would know and not just guess. But you can do it as well. You can watch the films which are on the festivals, you can speak with the filmmakers, you can watch the films of your friends. It's also a really great school for understanding things and trying to put it in practice for your films. So I was talking about the creative producer and what he does, and I was trying to list the skills that could be named as the skills for the creative producer. I even read some literature, not to think about it only myself. And I think one of the most important ones, and I put it in the #1 place, is what I was talking all the morning, is spotting the right material and the right time.
Do you mean material by the subject of the film?
Yes, it can be whatever actually.
The talent.
It can be the idea. It can be an article in the newspaper. It can be, for example, we have a war in Ukraine, and I feel that it would be a great time to make a fiction film on how Ukrainians fight for the freedom against Russians and so on and so forth. So this is also spotting a right material. It can be, as I said, it can be another film that inspires me, an old film, and I think that it's time to make a remake of that film. And the ending of the sentence is also very, very important for the right time, because every film has the right time and the wrong time. And what I mentioned also, that if you are trying to produce a film which has been produced 100 times, and people say that, oh, I saw such a film for 100 times, you have to think why your film will be special, why it will be different from those 100 that were already produced. So it has to have the right time and the right material. Going... Was it a question? No?
No, successfully.
Identifying and successfully attaching the right combination of talents and experience to turn promising story material into an irresistible script. This is taken from a book. It is not my own sentence. Yes, so this talent matching. Remember, we spoke, the producer is a talent matcher. His talent is to match talents. And I know that you will be very good for my short film and you will be very good for my feature film, but you don't go together, so I have to decide whether I take you or you. And it's a really hard work, but very interesting one. And the last one, which is not maybe that important as the other ones, is that the producer always has to think about the audience. There are people who argue and say that, well, this is the work of the distributor or the sales agent, it's his job or her job. But I think that still what we talked before in the morning, you have to think who will watch your film. I don't know if anyone wants to make a movie which will not be seen by anyone or 10 people in the cinema. You really want people to watch your film, to see it, so you have to think about who will watch your film, why they will watch your film. This is what I think you did yesterday, yeah? It's really a very tough job, and again, with every film, it's totally different. You cannot adopt the same to two films. Every film is unique, and it's a unique process every time. To work or not to work with the distributor or the sales agent, what is your opinion?
To work.
To work. I think what you can do with distribute it yourself, you can distribute the film in your own country because you really know it. And this is what, at least from my experience, I think I could do and I can do because I did it. But distributing it internationally, I wouldn't dare to do that. I think the biggest income, at least what the distributors I work with say, that the biggest income is from TVs. There are TVs who specializes only for short films, like Shorts TV, like Eurochannel. They have different sections for short films only, and they can pay, for example, $1,000, $1,500 for 3 screenings of your short film, one TV. Which is really nice for a short film, but but what I said, that I wasn't happy with the distributor, I don't think that they put enough effort to work with that film, because you know that it's not a secret that the distributor has a full catalog of the films, and there are some films that they personally like, and the others which they consider are good, but they don't like them personally. And this is very important, again, as with the engagement of the producer, this is the engagement of the distributor. He has your film in the catalog, but he doesn't work with it. It just has it in the catalog.
But as a producer on festivals and such, I mean, do you work as a salesperson, pitching and?
Yes. For example, I do the festivals on my own. The sales agent does the sales, and I do the festivals. And it's a lot of work, but I really wanted it this way, because I think I knew which festivals could go with this film, and in most cases I was right. And I think it's very good when someone who knows the film very well and loves the film works with it. That's why I say sometimes do it yourself. The distribution strategy is not that bad, especially in your country, because you know the market, you know the people, you know what they would like to see in the poster or commercial or whatever, and you know how to position your film, because you know your film and you like it and you love it, and you can do it in the best way. If you have some free time for that, of course, because it's, yeah. Now I found an interesting idea while reading one book, that they say that the creative producer equals development. That you don't need a creative producer after you develop your film and you prepare for the, like you are ready for the first day of the shooting. Now the creative producer can leave and he can go develop other projects. That the production is a task of a production manager. It's only like a fact of scheduling, fact of budgeting, fact of shooting and editing, which is more or less technical and managemental things to do. I could agree with this idea, but not for 100%. I believe that the creative producer can really show his or her skills best in the development stage, because that's where the relationship between the creative triangle, if such exists, is happening. And you develop an idea, you develop one sentence of the story, you develop a synopsis, you develop a treatment, you develop a script, first draft, second draft, third draft, fourth draft, and etc., etc. And this is where you can really collaborate, creating, I don't know, the storyline, the characters, the protagonist, antagonist, the time of your script, the place of your script, whatever. And all of the skills that we talked before, the creative producer skills, as I have mentioned before, they can be really learned in practice. It's really hard to learn this at school. You can start doing that if you are aware of that, but what the schools do as a mistake, in my opinion, they don't tell the students that, the producer students, I mean, that you have to be creative. They say that you have to be strict with the budget, you have to be strict with the schedule, you have to be strict with the applications, and then they forget to tell that you have to be creative, especially in development, and that you have to work closely with the director and writer. Am I right or no? But I think that first of all, you as a producers, you as a directors and the script writers have to understand that this is a group work. This is a group work, all the development from the very first day of the idea. And I actually read an article about one film school in Great Britain. I can't remember the title now, but it wasn't a national film television school, something in Edinburgh maybe. They started working on this creative triangle methodology in the film school, which means that they do the matching from the script writing course, from the directing course and producing course. They put 3 people together And yes, now you have to think of an idea, develop it, and make a film. If they see that this triangle doesn't work, they try to do the different matching, they change the producers between the groups, they change the script writers between the groups, and they try to kind of prepare those creative triangles for the future. Their idea is that you would work together after you leave the school, that you already have something to begin with. Maybe you later on move to another director, another scriptwriter, another producer, but at least you have someone to start with. And I think it's really important because this is the way you can learn this like creative thinking, what you did yesterday, what we are trying to talk about today. And I think it's also kind of the future, if you can say so, of film schools that should start learning this way. Because I think it's very bad when you isolate those people or you leave this matching for themselves. Sometimes it's good, yeah, because there are good outcomes, but I think the whole procedure would be much more fluent and much more efficient if you match those people from the very beginning and make them work together from the very beginning, and not the scriptwriter to bring the script to the... I have one director which writes himself, and then I have two other directors that co-write with the writer, which is, they also are writers, but there's a separate person as a writer.
Did you decide to bring that separate person in, or was it a mutual idea, or did they...
It was actually a mutual idea. In both situations, it was mutual idea because the directors were honest enough to say that I'm not sure if I'm good in writing. I have a very good idea. I know how the script should look like, but I have no skills to take the pen or laptop and put it in words. I can explain, but I cannot find the right words. And together, speaking, talking with the writer, with the producer, we had, and I will show you later on, which is really a classical, basical rule for the scriptwriters, producers, directors, to start with one sentence, then you go to the paragraph, then you go to the one-page storyline, then you go to the 10-page treatment, then you go to the first draft of the script, and so on and so forth. Not to start with the script. Don't start with the script. That's my very big suggestion. Because the main idea of it is if you can write in one sentence what is the film about, and you really like this sentence, it means that you can go further to write a paragraph. But you have to rewrite this sentence until you are really happy with that sentence. Not just, yeah, I wrote a sentence, now I go to the paragraph. No, it has to be really brilliant. You have to really like it, and you have to really understand what is the film about. Like, this film is about a road trip of a Lithuanian girl and Icelandic boy who meets together in Nida and finds themselves... Yeah, so it has to be very clear and interesting sentence which attracts you, and then you move to the paragraph. Then you make it longer. Yeah. If you feel happy with the paragraph, you move to one-page storyline where you say, in the very beginning we see, and then it moves to this, and then, but we see that it's important to have but, otherwise your film is not interesting, and then finally, la 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 la. So you have one page. Then from the one page you move to let's say 10, 15-page treatment, where it's getting more and more detailed, like scene by scene, and then you go to the script. And I think it's also a matter of the person who writes the script, because there are people who really spend a lot of time for thinking, as you said. They don't start writing before they answer all the possible questions in their head, and only then they start writing. So these people usually go into production with a second draft, third draft. And there are people who like, putting the ideas on the paper, starting a script from scratch, and then they end up with a 6th or 7th draft before they go into the production. So there's again no false, no true option. Everything is okay with everything if you feel comfortable with it. This is a small illustration of what I have just spoken about, the matter of creative producer and the development period in the whole film production life. So this is, let's say, this is the idea. I will make a film about Iceland and Lithuania and the relationship about this girl and boy. I don't know what will happen, but I just have an idea. And this is when I have the film made and ready for the release. So usually, if it's a feature film, it's possible that you will develop it for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, depending on what kind of personality you are, how many difficulties you find on your way with financing, etc., etc. And the production, how long will the production take you? It will be like 3-4 months of pre-production, 1-2 months of production, 3-4 months of post-production. Yes, if it's not something special. So production will be all in all, let's say 10 months, yeah? And those 10 months against those, let's say 3 years. And this is where you need the creative producer skills for all this period of the development. And here you need the managemental skills. This is also, as I said, it's an illustration. It's not true. It's not false. It's an illustration. Of course, that you need managemental skills here as well. Otherwise, you may fail the project. And of course, you need creative producer skills here as well, because your director usually needs you on set as well. And there are creative decisions made on set as well. But this is like for your visual, what's the English word? Visual, thank you. I can't get rid of Lithuanian. How important it is to develop those skills for yourself, because you can see how much time you use them for every single film. I made this illustration and I was looking at it, and yeah, and it's vice versa what you get at the film school. You get the managemental skills, but you don't get the others, or they don't allow you to develop those. At least not all the film schools, maybe some. So don't forget that and work on that. Develop yourselves and try to. This scheme reflects to the idea that the script is already a result of your relationship with the scriptwriter and director. Why is it the result? Because we've just spoken that you have to think for 2 years and then you have 48 hours to put everything down on the paper. What does it mean to think for 2 years? It means that you have to answer 1,500 questions about your story. What will be the story about? Who will be the characters? Who is the antagonist? Who is the protagonist? Where it will take place? When it will take place? How long does it take? All the film? Is it a day or 1 year, 20 years? Why do I make the film? What is the problem? I mean, where's the drama in this film? Why people will watch this? How many scenes will I have? Why this scene is in the beginning? Why I end up the film like this? Why we have so many dialogues or so little dialogues in the film? Every kind of question like this has to have an answer and clear arguments. So this is how you come up with a result, which is a script. And this is why it's really difficult if you start with a script. Then I have to go vice versa and ask those questions for the writer and director. Okay, I have read the script, but I have a lot of questions to you. Why is this so? Why is this so? Why is this that? I don't think it's good like this. Do you really find it okay that it's like this? And then we have to spend 1 more year answering those questions. So this is what I have already introduced you. The methodology of some film schools, some scriptwriters who take it as a process all the way to the result, which is a script, which you are happy with and which you go into the production. Again, it's a result, result, result. And this is a process, creative process. Why do I say one sentence with those bubbles? Because all those bubbles are ideas, some characteristics, who are the characters, where does it take place, what is the time, what is the storyline. I have to answer those 1,500 questions before I write one sentence. And it's really healthy to start answering those questions before you write that one sentence. Okay, so another important thing which I've mentioned, that whenever you are happy with one sentence that you have, you can tell it to your friend, you can tell it to your, I don't know, colleagues, you can ask opinion, you may not do that, you may work with it in your creative triangle only, it's up to you. Some people like to double check it with the Facebook friends, some don't, it's again, no true or false. Then you move to one paragraph synopsis or just one paragraph, because I think calling it logline or synopsis, I wouldn't say synopsis, I would say just one paragraph. Because saying that it's a logline, saying that it's a synopsis, you put like a frame. Oh, synopsis has to put, to say this and that, synopsis has to be like this. Don't think what kind of synopsis you need, just write a paragraph. The three of you have to be happy about it, that's it. Then you move to one page, then you move to the kind of treatment, which would be 10, 15 pages, according to your script, according to your storyline, according to the way you like to write, the way you expand or not your ideas. And then after you have it and you are happy with it, the three of you, you start writing a script. I say it's a 100-page if it's a feature film, but for example, there are no rules how many pages you have. And then when you have a script, you also draft it for several times. And only then you start thinking, okay, maybe with this fourth draft, if I go to the financiers or funders, what they will say, what they will think about it. Only then I would need to write a synopsis, which is a synopsis. When I already have a script, I would write a synopsis according to the rules of synopsis and what would financiers and funders think about it. What's the difference between like a simple synopsis written by director or scriptwriter and the so-called producer's synopsis? This, I just tell you. The producer's synopsis has to reveal what is the ending of the film. It has to, because the producer's synopsis is usually used for financing, for pitching, and as a producer, I cannot insult the financiers, the funders, with saying, and I won't tell you the beginning, the ending of the film, you will see when we make the film. I have to state very clearly what is the film about and how it ends. So the producer's synopsis always states very clearly what is the ending of the film, which can be avoided if the writer or the director writes the synopsis. They can say that, and it was very interesting how it ended, and they don't say how it ends. So it's more or less like annotation synopsis, which can be put in the catalog and so on and so forth, but not for the markets, production meetings and things like this.
One is storytelling, one is storytelling.
Yeah. And yeah, what would be the outcome of today? Don't forget the lean canvas. Try to use it from time to time for the project, for the company, for the team. Try to be creative. Don't forget the creative triangle. Even if it's the same person, try to act in different positions. Don't forget the script is the result. And don't forget how to start writing. Answer 150 questions, write one sentence, then the paragraph, 1 page, 10 pages, 100 pages. And everything will be great, as in your lean canvas. Okay, thank you so much.